Have you ever wondered why, in a world more connected and distracted than ever, so many feel unmoored, drifting between trends, noisy expectations, and the opinions of others? We're told to seek belonging, to chase validation, to hustle for worth, all while losing ourselves in the constant clamor. But what if the strength and peace we truly crave aren't found out there, but in the quiet moments we spend facing ourselves? Imagine stepping away from the frenzy not as an escape, but as an act of courage, a declaration that your value is not determined by external applause or fleeting approval. This is the path less traveled, the discipline of walking alone to lead others well, the daring choice to cultivate a deep, unshakable center in the midst of chaos. In solitude, you confront your doubts, mend your fractures, and discover the depths of your own resilience. It's here, beyond the noise and away from easy comfort, that wisdom is forged and unwavering presence emerges. True leaders are not those who seek followers, but those who embody integrity, purpose, and peace from the inside out. The greatest transformation doesn't arrive dramatically, but through daily acts of reflection, self-mastery, and intentional living. Strength is built in the silent hours that no one sees, and your unique essence becomes a steady beacon, a lighthouse for others in stormy seas. The world needs those who have learned to stand tall by being grounded within themselves, whose sovereignty cannot be shaken by expectation or circumstance. Are you willing to step off the well-trodden path and become that person? The journey begins not with grand gestures, but with the courage to go home to yourself, and from there, quietly shape the world. Lesson 1. The loneliness of the truth. Have you ever felt alone in a crowd, not because you lacked company, but because the noise drowned out your real self? Seneca once wrote, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it." In our world today, it isn't chaos that consumes us, but endless distraction. The constant scroll, surface-level opinions, the silent weight of needing to keep up. Beneath this relentless chorus, your true inner voice is easily low-stand, yet it is still there, quietly persistent, asking you to return to yourself. Walking the path of truth, especially as we grow older, takes courage most will never see. Solitude, when stripped of comfort and validation, feels sharp and unfamiliar. In these moments, when the applause fades and you are left with only your own presence, an uncomfortable yet essential question emerges. Are the things you chase, your dreams, ambitions, routine, as truly yours? Or are they merely echoes of what society cheers for? We all see it, in family, at work, in love. Most choose comfort, the kind found in routines, approval, and blending in. It's far easier to follow the crowd, to move where acceptance flows, than to step out and carve a new way. But the Stoic, like Marcus Aurelius, who reminds us, the impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way, knows true growth demands something different. The courage to travel inward, along a quiet and often lonely road. This inner journey is not paved with popularity. Instead, it guarantees challenge us to be misunderstood, to stand apart, to sit in silence, and ask yourself the questions no one else will ask. But it's here, beyond the noise and comfort, that genuine self-creation begins. These moments of stillness, though often mistaken for emptiness, actually brim with possibility. Here, you can shed the borrowed dreams of others and face the discomforts and contradictions within yourself, finding the seeds of real expansion. There's a paradox at play. We've been taught that loneliness signals emptiness or even failure. Yet, as Viktor Frankl observed, when a person can't find a deep sense of meaning, they distract themselves with pleasure. The brave discover that in us, there is a unique and powerful opportunity to locate the original core of who you are, beneath every label, accolade, and silent demand to fit in. Yes, this path invites doubts from those around you. Friends, family, even colleagues may not understand your silence, your refusal to chase every trend or meet every expectation. But, step by step, you become less reactive, more grounded, choosing clarity over noise, conviction over popularity. As Epictetus counseled, if you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid with regard to external things. The quiet life is not about isolation, but about coming home to yourself. In an age of endless connection, walking alone is radical. Yet only solitude allows new convictions to take root, old wounds to heal, and real fears to be transformed. The lonely path is not an escape from the world, but a journey into deeper self-awareness, letting go of validation, a finding of fulfillment in the silent act of becoming. When you begin to trust that gentle voice inside, you stop reaching for every outside light and rediscover the flame within. The fire you tend in solitude becomes your true guide, steady, enduring, untouched by fleeting trends or applause. This is a loneliness that doesn't sap your strength, but builds it. It is a silent rebellion, the start of a revolution that begins inside and radiates outward. And in the end, you are not lost, but deeply found. Not empty, but awakened, carrying a quiet strength that comes only to those courageous enough to walk their own path, alone. Lesson 2. Epictetus and the Inner Citadel. Once a slave, later a revered philosopher, Epictetus understood something many spend a lifetime missing. The mind, if defended, can become invincible. His most profound legacy is the concept of the inner citadel, a silent fortress inside each of us that no hardship, loss, or storm of circumstance can breach. Unless we surrender the key, modern life constantly threatens our peace. Especially for those in the thick of adulthood, the world's unpredictability is an endless lesson in fragility. Sudden job loss, a friendship turned distant, health that shifts overnight, betrayals you never saw coming. And yet, as Epictetus taught, safety isn't found by desperately trying to control the chaos around us. It's found by building, stone by stone, the strong inner walls that keep us steady no matter what shakes outside. No man is free who is not master of himself. But what happens when we hand over that mastery? When a harsh comment at work sabotages our whole week, or the coldness of someone we love makes us question our worth? In those moments, it's as if we've left our inner citadel unguarded, exposing ourselves to every blowing wind, allowing outside voices to overpower the one that matters most, our own. Epictetus warns us, such dependency drains our resilience and quiets our self-respect, leaving us at the mercy of a world that will never stop shifting. To reclaim sovereignty, we must learn to walk alone inward through the silent corridors only we can enter. Far from exile, this solitude is a sacred sanctuary. In its hush, we hear the first gentle signs of clarity and self-respect. Boundaries, so often mistaken for walls, are actually hallowed lineage edges, where your dignity takes root and where peace can finally grow. Protecting this space is not selfishness, but the ultimate act of honoring who you truly are. Consider, for a moment, the father confronting redundancy late in life. The house grows quieter, the confidence from years of routine suddenly missing, but inside his value remains untouched, guarded by his inner citadel. Or the woman who spent years molding her choices for harmony's sake, finally daring to honor her own promise, setting time aside each day just to listen to herself. With each act of self-loyalty, her inner drumbeat grows stronger, transforming a timid whisper into a steady, grounding rhythm. So Epictetus urges us, seek daily refuge in your own inner citadel. Switch off the world, even if only for a few minutes. In the honest silence of your thoughts, bravely examine the parts of yourself long buried by compromise or the fear of not belonging. Ask the honest questions, write them boldly, tend to them as seeds of future freedom. It may sting at first, but this is how you begin to rebuild, brick by brick, back to your own unshakable center. Here, peace is no longer borrowed from. Others it is yours, silent and enduring. Lesson 3. The Mirror of Solitude. Solitude is the most honest mirror we ever face. When the hectic rhythm of the day finally pauses and the world outside grows silent, a rare doorway opens. It's the chance to meet our real self, the one that exists behind every mask we wear for colleagues, friends, or family. In the quiet of this twilight, memories resurface, old victories and disappointments whisper, and unspoken fears slowly rise. This experience isn't always comfortable, but it is necessary. Marcus Aurelius, philosopher and emperor, knew this need for honest self-examination intimately. His private journals, never meant for anyone else's eyes now, speak across centuries about the transformative power found only in lonely, deliberate reflection. He wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." He knew true resilience is silent. It arises not from what happens to us, but from the way we choose to see and accept ourselves. It is tempting, especially after years of obligation and expectation, to avoid this confrontation. Distraction is everywhere. The midnight ping of emails, the endless lure of social media, the comforting hum of the television, the ceaseless demands of family. The real challenge and the brave practice is to simply sit with yourself in complete quiet, without reaching for anything to fill the silence. Solitude, however, is not about withdrawing from the world. It is the discipline to stay present with your own thoughts and feelings, even when they are uncomfortable. In this stillness, the mirror reveals patterns you've hidden, the challenges you dodge, the dreams set aside, the responsibilities that became disguises. Perhaps, late at night, a parent wonders what passions were traded for duty. A leader's confidence masks an unspoken wound from self-judgment. In love, self-sacrifice becomes mistaken for affection. Even public figure Stoic Anthony Bourdain, whose outward bravado masked a quiet struggle, prove that no one is exempt from this silent reckoning. Standing before this mirror, you begin to see not only your scars, failures, regrets, small acts of self-betrayal, but also your capacity for growth. As Carl Jung said, "Thinking is difficult, that's why most people judge." Growth starts with the courage to witness the rawness of your own reflection. Not to criticize, but to understand. True strength is born in these moments, not in grand gestures, but in the silent, steady process of acceptance, healing, and change. Solitude, then, is not an escape, it's an initiation. Renewal is impossible without honesty, and honesty flourishes only in intentional silence. Here, you untangle old stories that hold you back, lay down burdens that have quietly shaped your journey, and allow your approval of yourself, not applause from the world, to take root and grow strong. As the world's noise fades into the background, your convictions become clearer. Decisions are guided not by trends or fleeting opinions, but by deep-seated principles. Old wounds, once crippling, lose their sting. Reputation, criticism, even praise all slip away, leaving behind something more authentic and enduring, your unshakable self. You find yourself grounded by self-respect, able to move through life's winds without losing your center. In this soil of silence, transformation quietly begins. Like new shoots that sprout in darkness, resilience deepens out of sight, quiet but lasting. As Viktor Frankl observed, when we are no longer able to change a situation, we are challenged to change ourselves. The richest harvest of solitude is this: a life steered not by outward storm, but by that quiet inward mastery. Here, you finally become the true author of your own becoming. Lesson 4. The strength of the silent one. There's a persistent myth in modern culture. Strength is loud, dazzling, impossible to ignore the biggest voice in the meeting, the boldest presence at a party, the relentless pursuit of attention and recognition. But the wisdom of the Stoics slices through that illusion, revealing a deeper truth. Real strength is neither boastful nor noisy. It grows quietly, like the roots of an old oak bracing for storms, or the calm undertow beneath the chaos on the surface. Stillness, not spectacle, is where authentic power lives. You see it in the calm leader, who stands strong when others panic, whose presence soothes and steadies a room, not with loud words, but with silent certainty. Marcus Aurelius understood this, urging, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good person should be. Be one." His strength wasn't forged in crowds or applause, but in silent reflection, late at night, wrestling with doubt and principle, just as each of us must do in our own quiet hours. Consider the quiet fortitude of a mother guiding her family through financial crisis, never asking for applause or sympathy. Her power isn't seen in headlines or social media, yet it anchors everyone who depends on her. Remember Nelson Mandela, whose resolve was forged not in victory speeches, but in the silence of a prison cell, his strength undiminished, his vision purified by suffering. Or in everyday work, the mentor who rarely seeks the spotlight, but whose patient listening and calm resolve quietly shape the lives around them. True resilience, the kind that endures, is always cultivated in private, away from the crowd, when no one is watching, when no approval is promised. In love and friendship, this silent strength emerges in the partner who encourages gently, supports without demand, and remains steadfast even when things are hard. The Stoic doesn't chase validation. Instead, the silent one retreats from the chase for approval, choosing clarity over applause, presence over performance. Seneca reminds us, we suffer more often in imagination than in reality. When you stop measuring your worth by likes, promotions, or comparisons and return to your own authentic self, the storms of the world begin to lose their grip. Try this for yourself. Set aside 1 hour each day to be fully present with yourself. No television, no phone, no distractions, just you, your breath, and your thoughts. At first, you may feel restless, uneasy. In a world obsessed with busyness, true solitude can feel like foreign territory. Yet over time, you'll notice this silent practice becoming a crucible, strengthening courage, sharpening discipline, and nurturing self-awareness. In the quiet, your real voice resurfaces, old fears and habitual thoughts becoming visible and, eventually, powerless. We've all been conditioned to fear boredom, to equate quiet with loneliness. But boredom is not emptiness, it is fertile ground. For the Stoic, stillness is where wisdom grows. Without the endless barrage of stimulation, beauty emerges from what was once hidden by chaos. Clarity appears, purpose finds its shape, quietly and unhurriedly. The self-knowledge you develop in this space is hard-won, not up for debate, and needs no approval. This is the power to walk alone and to return to your loved ones, your work, your world, with a renewed focus and steady heart, immune to the chaos that once threatened to knock you down. In the end, the silent one is unshakable, not because they've run from the world, but because they've faced themselves, unearthed their deepest foundation, and emerged whole. Strength built in silence becomes a fortress that cannot be taken away, a source of power deeper and longer lasting than any applause, any public image, any fleeting victory. We've made it halfway through our journey today. Thank you for being here. Your presence here has radiated an energy that helped attract the person you desire. Please like and share this video to spread these lessons to your loved ones and friends, so together we can build a world of happiness and peace. Lesson 5. Detachment and the path within. Detachment is one of the most misunderstood virtues in contemporary life. To the hurried or anxious mind, it can appear as indifference or coldness. In truth, detachment isn't about withdrawing from life's richness, it's an active, courageous reclaiming of sovereignty over your inner world. The Stoics taught that the strength of your character is measured not by what you possess or who applauds you, but by your ability to stay anchored as the tides of circumstance rise and fall. Viktor Frankl wrote, "When we are no longer able to change a situation, we are challenged to change ourselves." The path of detachment begins here, with the conscious decision to stop surrendering your peace to the unpredictable winds of the outer world. This lesson often unfolds quietly in everyday life. A parent feeling empty as children leave home, an executive realizing that accolades and bonuses never quite fill the silent ache for meaning, or a spouse understanding that love thrives alongside, not because of their own sense of self-worth. Detachment doesn't mean discarding love, ambition, or joy. It's refusing to tie your sense of value to their presence or absence. It's about building a warm hearth within, where your spirit is nourished not by validation, but by your core values. Your worth is steady, silent, yet unyielding, entirely independent of anyone's applause. Nowhere is this more tested than in our age of constant connection, where affirmation is always just a tap away. The itch to check your phone, chase new notifications, or drown loneliness in the chatter of digital company, these are modern signals pointing back to the real work. Detachment means resisting this urge, letting the quiet stretch, letting discomfort be present. Every time you sit with yourself without numbing, without distraction, you stitch another strand into the fabric of self-trust. The value lies not in how connected you appear, but in how honestly you stand with your own truth. The journey of detachment is rarely smooth. It means saying no to invitations that drain your energy, stepping back from relationships built on dependency, and sometimes choosing silence over conversation. As Rainer Maria Rilke wrote, it means learning to love the questions themselves, to let longing stretch open inside you not as lack, but as possibility. True peace doesn't come from being surrounded, but from being centered. It's found in the silent certainty that your value was never dependent on someone else's approval. In work, it means pursuing excellence for its own sake, not to be seen, but to honor your own principles. In love, it means showing up fully and generously, not as a half seeking another half, but as a whole, willing to share yourself freely. The Stoics believed, as Nietzsche later echoed, "He who has a why to live can bear almost any how." True detachment doesn't reject people or pleasure. It ends the silent, endless bargain, the idea that you must gain something from the world before you can feel whole. You are already whole and already enough. Detachment is the practiced art of remembering this truth, returning to it again and again, until it becomes the unshakable ground beneath everything you do. This, finally, is freedom, the kind that no circumstance can give or take away. Lesson 6. The trial of isolation. Every generation secretly fears isolation, yet every truly great soul has been shaped and refined by its fire. Jesus walked alone into the desert. Buddha sought truth beneath the shade of a silent tree. Marcus Aurelius, though emperor to millions, described his crown as a seat of relentless solitude. Their journeys reveal a timeless lesson. Genuine transformation requires moments, apart moments, stripped of noise, accolades, and the constant pull of external feedback. The fire of isolation does not destroy, it purifies. When society's demands fade to silence, what emerges is the raw, unembellished self. This is not a punishment, but a necessary purification. In true isolation, every mask falls away. The praise from work, the warmth of family, the admiration of friends, these become distant echoes in an empty hall. When solitude descends, long-suppressed voices finally rise, regret over overlooked dreams, grief for loves never fully mourned, or the pride of surviving hardships hidden from the world. Isolation is a mirror sharper than any judgment, exposing what is essential and dissolving what is just for show. Friedrich Nietzsche reminded us, "He who would learn to fly one day must first learn to stand and walk and run and climb and dance. One cannot fly into flying." The trial of isolation is when your feet first touch the ground, uncertain, but genuine. Stories of such transformation unfold everywhere. After the heartbreak of divorce, a woman finds herself facing quiet evenings in an empty house. Instead of filling the silence with noise, she turns to painting, transforming her loneliness into a sanctuary of creativity. A middle-aged executive, stripped of title and routine, spends restless nights confronting his doubts. Rather than seeking endless distractions, he pours his fears and hopes into pages of a journal, gradually uncovering a new sense of purpose that is not bound by career or applause. Even among the celebrated think of J.K. Rowling, who wrote the first Harry Potter story in near poverty, carving worlds from solitude, these moments of aloneness are the crucible of transformation. You alone decide, do you run from the silence, or do you step deliberately into its potential? Will your isolation harden into bitterness, or will you forge it into wisdom? The solitary hours are a fork in the road. One path numbs, the other elevates. Make your moments alone hallowed ground. Read not just for knowledge, but to commune with minds across centuries. Reflect not to self-criticize, but to understand, to clarify what you truly value. Write not to impress others, but to anchor your truth deep within your consciousness and remember what you believe. Let these rituals ground you. Light a candle, close your doors, carve out a silent sanctuary even for a few minutes each day. Use the lonely hours as a training ground for your purpose and discipline. In this quiet forge, resilience is shaped strength meant to weather the storms of life. The wisdom and clarity earned in these hours will echo through every action, every relationship, every principle you carry forward. Do not look away from the self that surfaces in isolation. Embrace the challenge. In these silent chambers, your greatest strength is forged. Here you reclaim your essence and rediscover a depth that no outside achievement can give. This quiet endurance is not for the world's applause, but for your own peace, purpose, and integrity. Lesson 7. Self-discovery is the seed of all growth. To know others is intelligence. To know yourself is wisdom. This timeless insight, echoed by sages from ancient philosophers to contemporary thinkers, sits at the core of every meaningful transformation. The world often rewards those skilled at analyzing others, those who predict, interpret, and navigate external patterns. But true depth is found in the silent mastery of self-examination, an art quietly practiced by only a courageous few. This inward journey is not reserved for poets, mystics, or philosophers. It is at once a responsibility and a liberation, necessary for anyone seeking real growth. Most people drift through life on silent autopilot, unconsciously shaped by inherited beliefs and unexamined fears. Daily routines, work, family, social obligations often conceal a deeper story written by childhood wounds, societal pressure, or a relentless craving for approval. A father, burdened by unresolved frustrations at work, may unknowingly project them at home, passing invisible weights to those he loves most. A mother might shape herself to fit an image, betraying her essence for fleeting validation. Relationships strain and wither not for lack of love, but because we remain strangers to ourselves. The noise of the modern world magnifies this distance. Social media tempts us with ready-made identities, offering endless advice but little in the way of real authenticity. Gradually, we don masks not just for others, but for ourselves, rarely pausing to ask why we perform or what lies beneath the roles we play. The Stoic refuses this path. Epictetus reminds us, "Man is not worried by real problems so much as by his imagined anxieties about real problems." Rather than remain captive to these imagined fears and false identities, the Stoic chooses to unmask, to question, to truly know themselves. This pursuit is not an indulgence, it is the lifelong work of the wise. Practical tools can anchor this inward journey. Morning journaling uncovers hidden assumptions and quiet hopes. Meditation offers a still surface, a clear lake, in which our true values are reflected, unclouded by external noise. Honest self-inquiry becomes a map. Who am I when no one is watching? What values remain when every borrowed opinion is set aside? For what will I stand, even when it costs me approval or comfort? These are not mere philosophical luxuries, but the inner compasses that guide us to act from truth rather than habit or fear. You won't find these answers in applause or in the silent scrolling of endless feeds. They are discovered in the discomfort of honest reflection, the vulnerability of confronting one's own contradictions, and the unwavering commitment to silence. Only when every other voice fades, when you sit quietly with your doubts, hopes, and truths, does your inner voice finally speak. It never shouts. It whispers, persistent, patient, waiting for you to truly listen. From the sanctuary of self-honesty, self-mastery begins to take root. The most genuine confidence arises not from comparison, but from the steady conviction that your actions and beliefs are your own, examined and chosen with care. In this sacred space, you rediscover your path, a direction not borrowed from the world, but cultivated from within. This silent wisdom will illuminate your way, guiding every choice and relationship, freeing you not into illusion, but into the lasting truth that remains when all the noise has faded away. Lesson 8. Walking to lead others well. There is a deep irony, rarely acknowledged in a world so driven by the pursuit of connection and belonging. Often, it is the solitary path that best prepares someone to lead and love with true substance. Authentic leadership, whether within family, friendship, or societies, forged in the silent hours of self-understanding, away from the clamor of opinions, praise, or expectation. Solitude does not sever you from others. It roots you so firmly within yourself that you become profoundly valuable to those around you. Those who are molded by silence possess a rare steadiness. They are not swept away by flattery or undone by criticism. They lead not from a thirst for control, nor from the invisible cords of guilt or the longing for validation. Their presence radiates like a lighthouse, grounded, calm, and illuminating the way without entangling itself in every passing storm. As Seneca wisely said, "It is not because things are difficult that we do not dare. It is because we do not dare that they are difficult." The courage to walk alone, to face one's own weaknesses without distraction, builds an inner strength that no rank or title could bestow. This is not abstract philosophy. It is woven into daily life. Consider the mother who sets clear boundaries for her children, not from coldness, but from self-mastery born of silent reflection on her values. Imagine the manager who resists the impulse to please everyone, choosing integrity and fairness, knowing that blind conformity erodes true leadership. Picture the friend who simply sits beside someone in pain, offering a silent, stable presence instead of rushing to fill the empty spaces with words. These individuals have painstakingly cultivated in solitude the gifts of constancy, resilience, and peace, gifts they now offer to those around them. Look to the figures history has remembered for wisdom and impact. Marcus Aurelius, the Stoic emperor, ruled not through grand gestures but through quiet self-examination, believing that the soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts. Abraham Lincoln frequently retreated into solitude during the country's darkest hours, emerging with the clear-minded resolve to help reunite a divided nation. These leaders were not born immune to doubt or chaos. Rather, they earned their composure by confronting both alone, in the silent chambers of reflection. Each of us is called to this kind of inner fortification. We must face ourselves honestly, attend to old wounds with patience, and reinforce our boundaries with courage. Only when your own cup is full brimming, not from restless striving, but from deep inner alignment, can you truly give to others. Then, you will love fiercely without losing your balance. You will lead, not from a place of needing to be followed, but as a quiet invitation to greater purpose. You will serve, not from depletion, but from the overflowing wellspring replenished in solitude. Walking your own path is not a retreat from life, but a training ground for wisdom and compassion. The world deeply needs those who have faced their darkness and returned bearing light. Those who know that genuine leadership is not about collecting followers, but about quietly inspiring others to embark courageously on journeys of their own. From the silent center you build, you become stability in a shifting world, a quiet force whose influence radiates outward, rooted in the unshakable calm found only through walking alone. Lesson 9. Discipline of inner sovereignty. Walking alone is more than an act of courage. It is a profound mastery of the self, a conscious cultivation of discipline in a world that worships urgency and noise. In a society captivated by instant gratification and endless distraction, choosing a silent, measured path of self-mastery is a quiet act of rebellion. The ancient Stoics taught, freedom is the power to live as one wishes, but they insisted that true power lies not in indulging every desire, but in the sustained effort to do what is right, especially when no one is watching. Solitude sharpens your ability to witness the inner storms, the subtle temptation to quit, the comfort of easy excuses, the whispering impatience that urges you to hurry. Alone, you learn the art of enduring discomfort and delaying gratification. You sit with your restless mind, observing as it searches for escape, resisting the pull of busyness or shallow validation. It is in these silent struggles that true strength is built. Just as an athlete builds power in the quiet dedication of early morning practice. The discipline forged in private transforms into resilience in public. There is no applause here, only grit and quiet growth. Solitude is not the absence of life, but the vital presence of yourself, your mind, your motives, your mission engaged in honest dialogue. This discipline is not about rigid austerity, but about shaping a life of depth and meaning. The CEO who leads with grace through a crisis, the parent who upholds their values despite mounting peer pressure, the artist who refuses to compromise her vision for fleeting trends. These individuals don't simply react to the world. They draw on the discipline honed in their solitary moments. "He who conquers himself is the mightiest warrior," wrote Confucius, echoing the unyielding spirit of the Stoics. When you govern your own mind, choosing reflection over impulse, you become capable of steadfast leadership and genuine influence. You slow down inside, carving out space between stimulus and response. In this intentional pause lies your true power, the freedom to act from principle, not fear. To walk alone is to honor your integrity and to live with intention, not just efficiency. When you choose values over convenience, you develop a soul resilient enough to endure life's fiercest storms, not from isolation, but from being deeply rooted in clarity. Solitude is the forge where your beliefs are tested, where you learn which truths you cannot surrender, no matter the cost. When the world demands that you conform, let your response be silent and steady. When others doubt your motives or wonder at your refusal to join the noise, let your rootedness speak for itself. You are not falling behind, you are digging deeper, cultivating resilience that cannot be rushed and will never be faked. You are building the kind of foundation that no storm will shake. Ultimately, history rarely remembers those who shout the loudest, but rather those who stand with quiet conviction. The leaders who ignite lasting change so often are the ones who first mastered the silent discipline of walking alone. In this inner calm, you become an unshakable force thunder beneath the silence, strength revealed in restraint, the person who truly shapes the world by first mastering themselves. Lesson 10. The unshakable center. To be unshakable does not mean growing hard and inflexible against life, but rather becoming so deeply rooted in your core that no storm can topple you. In a world overwhelmed by turmoil and fleeting trends, the person who finds and honors their silent center becomes a rare and vital foreseer, steadfast lighthouse in a sea of crashing waves. The Stoics remind us that our greatest power lies in mastering what is within our reach, our thoughts, our choices, our attitude. Everything beyond this is outside our control and not worth the surrender of our inner peace. Most people strain endlessly to bend reality, trying to force the world to fit their desires. Families fracture beneath impossible expectations, colleagues clash for affirmation, lovers drift apart while seeking security in things that forever shift. Yet, as Epictetus taught, we cannot choose our external circumstances, but we can always choose how we respond to them. The wise do not seek security in approval or comfort. Instead, they turn inward, anchoring themselves quietly and deeply to their values. This is not escapism, this is the birthplace of real peace. Such peace is forged in the demanding struggle of letting go. It is the quiet victory of choosing calm while others panic, the quiet dignity of a grandparent who, after retirement and loss of status, finds joy in presence and wisdom with a grandchild. It is the founder who, having lost a company, keeps their joy intact because their worth was never defined by title or profit. These are not people immune to pain, but those who have made their center sacred. They do not shrink from life, nor do they cling to its every comfort. They move through loss, criticism, and praise with the same steady pace. When you root yourself in your center, you are no longer ruled by what is fleeting. You fear not criticism, nor become intoxicated by praise. You become like the tree that bends with the wind, but never breaks. Your peace is anchored in purpose, not in outcome, in integrity, not in opinion. He who conquers himself is the mightiest warrior, wrote Lao Tzu, and this silent conquest is the mark of a life fully lived. To find your center, you must make deliberate room for it. Carve out islands of silence amid the noise. Rise early when the world is hushed. Pause before sleep when the day's distractions have faded. Nourish your soul with truth, not with trends. Reflect deeply until your intuition sounds clear and your conscience stands firm. Frequent your own company as you would a sacred space, building rituals that honor your clarity and guard it against the world's distractions. This isn't isolation, it's devotion to the home you are building within. Once formed, your center becomes your refuge. It is the silent hearth to which you return when the world's coldness seeps in. It is the root from which resilience grows when adversity strikes. In this space, you need neither approval nor apology. You belong fully, simply in your own presence. No masks, no compromise, no scramble to be enough. You simply are. From here, presence replaces noise. Strength radiates quietly, untouched by any surge of opinions or setbacks. Out of the silence comes the strength to endure and to act, observed Winston Churchill. This is the power of the unshakable center. It cannot be traded, borrowed, or broken. It transforms chaos into clarity and solitude into sovereignty. In the end, you walk your path not to prove yourself, not to hustle for validation, but with intention, guided by an inner compass that resonates not just within yourself, but invites others home to their own silent wholeness. This is how you become unshakable. This is how you walk your path, not empty, but absolutely whole.